Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time it is yet another vlog, and in this installment I'm going to be doing an unboxing, yet another generous gift from a really good friend of mine and longtime subscriber, Jonathan. Um, and I am also going to be doing a quick DVD and Blu-ray update on some films that I picked up fairly recently to add to my collection. And then I'm going to give some quick thoughts on some movie trailers that have come out fairly recently and give my belated thoughts on some upcoming Blu-ray releases from Scream Factory, Arrow Video, and one from Kino Lorber. So, without further ado, let's get started. I actually did. I'm just gonna say to Jonathan, I did actually try to record my initial first reactions to the package, but something happened and the video got fucked up, so I have to start over. But I will just say this: once again, I am really humbled and blown away by your generosity, and I promise you, as long as I still have a YouTube channel and as long as I am able, I will eventually get to all the films that you sent me. And I will watch all of them and I will review them. It's a lot, but once I get done with school and I can just focus on work and YouTube, it's something that I definitely think I can do, and I definitely have faith that I can accomplish. So before I get into it, before I get into other parts of this video, like reading the letter that Jonathan sent me, or at least going through it and answering some of the questions he had for me, I'm going to show the stuff that was in the package. So one of the first things that was in there is something that he told me about, and this is a release that I'm really psyched for, and I'm really happy to have in my hands, and that is the collector's edition of John Carpenter's Vampires. This is so cool. It's got an interview with new interviews with Carpenter, with the producer Sandy Carpenter, James Woods. Yeah, new interview with James Woods, Thomas Ian Griffith, Tim Gunney, Greg Nicotero, cinematographer Gary B. Gibb. So this has actually got a good amount of features on it. I know there was, I think, a Twilight Time release or some other overseas release of the film that had come out, but on Blu-ray, but I never really picked one up, and I'm glad I didn't because the wait paid off to get John Carpenter's Vampires in a collector's edition from Scream Factory. This is one of Carpenter's more underrated films, and I'm really glad to have it because one of these days I want to do a John Carpenter marathon. And since this is I think a Sony film, and Scream Factory has deals with Sony as well as with Warner Brothers, I am hoping, and also Universal, I am hoping that there is going to be a collector's edition of Escape from LA that is going to be coming out in the near future. I really hope that's the case. I have some issues with the film, but if you're going to have collector's editions of Vampires and other John Carpenter films, Escape from LA definitely needs to be on that list. It definitely needs that treatment. It deserves that treatment. Escape from New York already has it. It's only fitting, that Escape from LA would have it because Scream Factory also has a deal with Paramount, and Escape from LA was released by Paramount. So I'm fingers crossed that we're gonna get an Escape from LA collector's edition, but really glad that there was a Vampires collector's edition. So yeah, one of these days I'm going to do a John Carpenter movie marathon, and this will be a part of it, and I will save my thoughts on the Blu-ray and everything until that particular moment. So there's a Blu-ray of John Carpenter's Vampires. This is perfect timing, actually. I'm planning on doing a mini marathon of horror anthologies this October. Something I wanted to do anyway, but never really got around to doing it or finishing it up, because I think either last October or some other month I was doing horror anthologies. I was doing Amicus horror anthologies, and I wanted to do more than just Amicus horror anthologies, but I never really got the chance or the time to do more. This month will be different because I've completely rescheduled the Rambo reviews until Last Blood comes out on DVD or Blu-ray. Once that comes out on home video, then I will get around to the Rambo franchise. But right now, I am just straight into a month of horror because it's October, and I just feel it's just perfect to do horror anthologies because it's my favorite genre of horror, and my favorite horror film is Creepshow, and you're going to hear more of my thoughts on Creepshow fairly soon, as well as Creepshow 2, and yes, Creepshow 3. Finally, I'm going to get around to tearing that movie a new asshole, and it'll be glorious. Trust me. That'll be something that has been deep in my basement for a decade. So it's going to be one of those rants that I have a feeling could potentially be legendary, and one of the best rants that I've done in a long, long time, because this time it's personal. But anyway, the reason why this is perfect timing is because he sent me Dead of Night. This is one of the first horror anthologies ever made. It's from the 40s, it's from 1945, and I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I've never seen the film. So this will be really interesting to watch, to see one of the first horror anthologies ever made. So Dead of Night. So probably share my thoughts on that fairly soon, because it'll be a part of the horror anthology marathon. Speaking of horror films, they sent me another horror film on Blu-ray, Superstition. Love this cover art. It's some of my favorite cover art from the 80s, from 80s horror. It's mysterious, it's dark, it's creepy. I love it. And I have this film on DVD. I saw it a long time ago. I remember actually liking it, but I honestly completely forgot about this release. I completely forgot that this had a Blu-ray release, and I guess I was just like, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I'm okay with my DVD. But he surprised me with the Blu-ray, and I'll definitely take it. I mean, it has a 2K scan of the original film elements. It's got a new interview with the director and one of the actors, James Houghton. So not a whole lot of features, but it has some features at least, and it has a new 2K transfer. So this is great for the 80s horror collection, which one of these days too I want to get back to that. I know my good friend Matt Ramblerath for Life is doing his own marathon, and he's doing a great job, but I definitely want to get back to my own marathon one of these days, because I want to get that research. I want to get that research down for that book, for Gory Days. But anyway, Superstition. Here we have a Disney movie, a film that I actually have a lot of fond memories of. The Sword in the Stone. I know this is a Disney film that didn't do that well when it came out. It has a less than stellar reputation among Disney fans, but I've always enjoyed this movie. I remember watching it when I was a kid on VHS quite a bit, so I'm really glad to have this, actually, along with Robin Hood, which he also sent me a while back. I've got enough Disney movies, thanks to Johnathan, that I could do a Disney marathon one of these days, and I do want to do that because I would like to branch out a little bit and, talk about some family films for once, talk about some Disney animated classics, because I did grow up with Disney films. Fantasia is one of my favorite films, period. And I grew up with The Lion King, like most 90s kids did, and Aladdin. So yeah, I definitely want to do a Disney marathon one of these days. So Here's another film to add to that list. Sword in the Stone. Here we have Point of No Return. I was actually curious about checking this out because I have La Femme Nikita. I picked that up because it was a film that I needed to watch for a French film class. And I liked the film. I didn't love it, but I did like the movie. And because I liked it, I was curious about the American remake of the film, Point of No Return. So now I have it on Blu-ray and I can give it a watch sometime. And then we have another anime. This one is really intriguing me. Project Aiko. This is apparently a satire parody film of anime. It's got parodies of Fist of the North Star, Macross, Captain Harlock, and others. This is what they kind of look like. They're from Sailor Moon. This looks like a film that I would get a kick out of as after I do more anime research in terms of watching more anime films. I think I definitely, or more anime series. So I'm probably going to put this one pretty down on the list of the anime films that Jonathan has sent me. I got a lot of anime films now thanks to Jonathan, and I definitely want to do a marathon one of these days on anime because I find it interesting. I do find it pretty intriguing. I remember liking was it Pom Poko? Was that what it was? No, Pom Poko I think is the one with the panda bears, I think. Yeah, the one that I reviewed it was one that had Michael Keaton, who did the voice of one of the characters. It was a pilot who was also a pig, and for some reason the name is not coming to me. But I did review it, and I do remember watching Paprika for a film class, and I liked that. So, and I am a big fan of Bio Booster Armor Guyver because I love Guyver. I love the character of Guyver. I love pretty much everything Guyver related, except for really the first live action movie, which I'm not really as in love with as I used to be. But it's something. It's a medium and it's a genre that I definitely want to get more into. So yeah, thanks to Jonathan, I have a lot of films that I can choose from, including a parody satire of anime. That I think that's pretty clever. It sounds like it might be a fun movie. It might be a really entertaining film. But it definitely would be more enjoyable once I have more context, once I can get more of the references. I don't want to watch it and be lost and be like, I don't get it. And then I remember him telling me about this. He was like, I'm going to send you another coaster. And what he means by coasters is it's actually pretty fun. It's a fun gag. So he sent me Ballbusters, the Ghostbusters remake last time. And in the back of my head, as soon as he said he's going to send me another coaster, I was like, he's going to send me RoboCop, isn't he? And yes, I got RoboCop. I got RoboCocked. I got RoboBukaki. I fucking love this film. Just looking at this fucking cover on this disc just fills me with rage. I mean, I'm resisting the urge right now to try to break this with my bare hands. I don't want shards of DVD in my hands. I don't want to hurt myself, so I'm not gonna do that. But ooh, I just want to fucking break it. I just want to bend it and then just break it into a million pieces. I want to break out a hammer and I want to smash it. Yeah, I am not a fan of this film. I fucking hate this movie. I make an effort to actually, whenever I see this film, like at a thrift store or at like Big Lots or other places, I make an effort to flip it off. That's how much I fucking hate this movie, because I'm such a, as you all know, I'm an enormous fan of RoboCop, and this is a fucking disgrace. I'd rather watch Alpha Commando. I'd rather watch Prime Directives. I'd rather watch RoboCop fucking 3 fucking times than watch this shit again. One of these days I probably will watch it again because I do want to do new reviews of RoboCop films one of these days because I feel the older reviews are old, they're outdated, they're too long. I don't like the camera work. I don't like a lot of things about them. So I definitely would like to do newer reviews of those films. I'm going to wait to do that though when I get the Arrow video release of RoboCop, which that's one of the Arrow video titles that I'm going to talk about a little bit more in depth later. But right now, just I'll save you. You're going to get it, okay? You're going to get it later. But for right now, you're safe. You're safe for right now, but not for very much longer, you fucking RoboCop. God, I hate that movie. So he also sent me this, which I think is kind of rub salt in the wound a little. But it's okay, it's cool. See, you have the fucking jet black robo fucking condom right here. But then you also have this quote from Jason Best from Movie Talk, who definitely does not know best. He says, a blockbuster with brains. What? This really wasn't a blockbuster. It was a box office bomb. It didn't really have the feel of a blockbuster film. It was too boring, too slow paced, and didn't really have enough memorable action to really give you that sense of a big budget blockbuster. But okay, alright. And brains? This film was the opposite. This film wasn't smart. It was pretty fucking stupid. And then I would guess, what did this guy see? That one scene where Murphy has surgery on his fucking brain? And I guess they were like, oh, this movie has brains. Yeah, brains that are up its ass. Yeah, blockbuster with brains. Yeah, how about this? Fuck that bullshit. The blockbuster with bullshit. That's the better way to put it. So here we have the letter. I'm just going to go through and kind of skim it a little bit. It's multiple pages. Gonna let him know about my thoughts on a few things. Answer some questions for him. He says, I hope you enjoy these gifts. These gifts. Sorry, I guess I can't talk. I hope you enjoy these gifts. I got more for you for Christmas. Even gonna get you John Wick 3, Dracula, and more surprises. Wow, Dracula 1979? That's really cool, man. Like, that's a release I've been waiting for a long time. That's what I was going to talk about in the Scream Factory portion of this video. Scream Factory is finally releasing Dracula 1979 with Frank Langella. They're releasing it on Blu-ray, and it's going to have the original release of the film that came out in theaters with the original color timing. And I've been wanting to see that for the longest time because the DVD release has this muted color timing because the director, John Badham, he liked it more. So he just made it so every release had this muted color timing, which I'm really not a fan of at all. John Wick 3, all right, cool. I just won't even bother getting John Wick 3. Isn't it awesome? Road Games, Body Parts, Pet Sematary 2, My Buddy Valentine, Collector's Edition, Big Trouble in Little China, The Fly Collection, Let's Scare Jessica to Death, Prophecy, 1979 Silver Bullet are finally coming to Blu-ray. Yeah, it is, and I was going to talk about those later in this video. I'll probably still do that. So he talks about in August he went to a comic expo, cosplayed as Jen the Gelfing from Dark Crystal. That's really cool. So he had a lot of stuff. Seems like he had a lot of fun. He met and spoke with Philip Glasser, the voice of Fievel in American Tail 1 and 2. That's really cool. That's a film I haven't seen in years. He spoke with Jason Isaacs, asked him what it's like voicing the Emperor for Age of Resistance. He said it was hard work as you got to match lips with the character and voice acting. He said he is a fan of the film, and I said your voice sounded different than the dying version in the film. He said it was his younger days and 20 years before his death. I even met Shauna from Farscape herself in person. She still is lovely at 41 years old, and she said thanks. Took a picture with her, and she loves my costume, as she is one of the people who helped on the new show, Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, um, and knows of Jim Henson Company, and if it was for the Farscape anniversary, and that's really cool because I'm a big fan of that show. That's pretty awesome. He binged all episodes of Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. He really liked it. I'm gonna wait to check that out when I check out Dark Crystal again. So it seems like it's a show that has a lot of good things going for it. That's really cool. It says it respects the movie's mythology and everything, like Blade Runner 2049 was the Blade Runner. For some reason, I can't fucking talk. I don't know what it is. I think I might be because I'm a little bit tired. So yeah, he says they're not cash grabs. They're really, really good. So that's really cool. Rants about Ballbusters. Rants about RoboCop. Some good rants there. Talking about Alien and the Predator reboot and how everything should just, should just stop making them at this point. And I agree with that. I definitely agree with that for sure. Talks about Critters Attack, which I haven't seen actually. I want to see that one of these days when I get around to reviewing the Critters franchise. Binge, yeah, New Binge was beyond shitty. Like, you were totally correct on there. Yes, the Elm Street remake was bad. Last Jedi. They're all soulless, hollow bastardization garbage attempts to revive retro properties that are total failures. I agree 100%. Then he talks about Denis Villeneuve, Louis Leterrier. Talks some more about Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, which I'm not gonna. I don't want to spoil things for people who haven't seen the show yet. But it sounds like there's a lot of good things to like about it, which is a good sign. I did like the trailers. Speaking of Denis Villeneuve, he's doing a adaptation of Dune. I love pretty much everything he's done so far that I've seen, so I am really curious about that. I think he really could do a great job because he really did an amazing job with Blade Runner 2049. So I really think he's the right guy for a Dune film. I think it's still a book that's really going to be nearly impossible to adapt, but we'll see. And I think it's definitely going to be hard to top David Lynch's Dune, which I love. I love David Lynch's Dune. It's my favorite David Lynch film. It's one of my favorite sci-fi films. It's one of my favorite films of the 80s. It's another film that I have on one of my lists of like absolutely must do a review of sometime. Maybe not in the near future. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. Definitely while I still have a YouTube channel, while YouTube still exists, because that's a film that I have a lot of things to say about. Good and bad and in between. It's not a perfect film. I have to admit I do have some problems with it, but man, it has some of the most stunning visuals of its era, and there's so many things about it that are just phenomenal and just absolutely fantastic. So he talks about Outbreak and Contagion, about reviews of that. Yeah, I thought about doing that, but I think I'm gonna wait on some reviews for that later. I watched Outbreak again because I had to watch it for a class that I'm taking at WCU about diseases and epidemics and stuff like that. And it still holds up well. I would say I don't love it as much as I used to because I do find a little bit more things wrong with it. Particularly, I think it's a little bit too melodramatic at times in terms of the overall plot and some of the characters. But it's still a really good movie. Contagion, on the other hand, is an overrated, boring fucking mess of a film that goes on forever, has way too many fucking characters, none of them are that interesting or engaging, and it's a thriller that isn't very thrilling. It's a movie that I don't get the praise at all. It's one of those films where it's more realistic, but realistic doesn't necessarily mean good or better, because you can throw in all the accurate medical jargon you want, but it doesn't make a good movie. It doesn't make for a good film. He's talking about thoughts on videos for Creepshow, Creepshow 2, reviews for 3, some more anthologies. Yep, that's the plan. Definitely going to throw Dead of Night in there as well. November, I'm going to do The Shining plus Doctor Sleep. Maybe? Because I am looking forward to Doctor Sleep. He's talking about more 1980 horror films. Maybe. Talking about maybe if I was going to do Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, some other stuff like that, Toy Story. My plans for November, I'm just going to kind of go with the flow. That's really what my plan is. Same thing for December. Talks about he's glad that I enjoyed Rocket Man. Praises SWAT Cats, which is pretty cool. I mean, that show is radical. I'd love to do a video on that someday. Rants about Terminator Dark Fate. Yep. Really does look really bad, and they definitely should pull the plug on it. Talks about Dead of Night, which is really says that it inspired a lot of things, including EC Comics. Talks about Nikita. And he asks, did you dig Wendy Peppercorn when I was a kid? From The Sandlot. Yeah, I mean, who didn't? Who didn't really? I mean, says you can't wait for my politics and film criticism rant video. Yeah, that's a mini rant I'm going to do in the future. I am sick to death. I am absolutely done with politics and film criticism. I think there's way too fucking much of it nowadays. But I also feel that it's a double-sided sword. It's a double-edged sword. There's two sides to the whole thing. And I think in order for politics and film criticism to not be as prevalent, there's going to have to be some acknowledgments from one particular side of the argument that I don't think enough people are acknowledging, which I'll get to later when I do that video. Yeah, Stallone hasn't been wasting his time. So they did a good job on the Crawl review. Cool. I hope this is hopes RoboCrap makes a quality drink coaster. It's cool. Yeah, it probably will. Did you ever dug Gillian Anderson growing up in X-Files? Probably not, because I only watched like a handful of episodes of the show growing up, so I couldn't really say that I had that big of a connection with her. But yeah, thank you once again, Jonathan, for the gifts and for the letter and for the kind words and everything, man. I really appreciate it. So now I'm going to show a few things that I picked up. Here we have what is already a contender for one of the best Blu-ray releases of 2019. Second Sight's limited edition, collector's edition of Flight of the Navigator. This is such a gorgeous set. Like, this is beautiful. Like, this is a beautiful Blu-ray set. I never thought in a million years this film would get this treatment, and I am so glad it did. Love this film. One of my all-time favorites. One of these days, I have to do another review anyway, because the review I did years ago I had to remove because of copyright reasons. So I'm definitely going to give this another watch and do an in-depth review of it in the future. So here we have the Second Sight release. And it's region-free, folks. Region-free. So if you don't have a region-free player, you can still play it and still enjoy it. I mean, look at this book that comes with it. That cover art is gorgeous too. I mean, and this book is really cool. It's got crew photos. It's got a little making of mini essay about the making of the film. And then it has like the entire story, all the storyboards. This is the ultimate release of this film. And I never thought it would happen because Disney doesn't give a flying fuck about this movie and didn't for years. It took Second Sight to release the film on Blu-ray in widescreen. It took them to release it, and I have the older release. And then it took Second Sight years later to give it the special edition treatment that it so deserves. I mean, this is a cult classic. This is one of the best sci-fi films of the 80s, especially when it comes to for sci-fi for families and for kids. And I mean, this disc is loaded. It's got a new 4K scan of the film, which is an update over the scan that was used for the previous release. That's supervised by the director Randall Kleiser. It's got a new interview with the director, Randall Kleiser. It's got a new interview with the producer, Dimitri Villard. It's got a new interview with Joey Kramer, who apparently is out of prison. Yeah, sadly, he got involved in some, not very good stuff. But seems like since they're able to get him to do an interview, it seems like he's doing better now, which is good. An interview with Veronica Cartwright. An interview with Matt Adler, who played the little brother, or the older brother. I think, yeah, he played the one. He played the brother, one of the brothers in the film. Documentary called Concept of Creation about the special effects of the film, and then an audio commentary which I think was on the previous release with the director and executive producer Jonathan Sanger. And it also has a collectible poster. Like, this is just gorgeous. Beautiful sets. I remember when I was first looking, was making lists of films that I wanted and desperately felt needed a special edition. Flight of the Navigator was near the top. And now that Second Sight has delivered on that dream, that's just, it's just so cool. That being said, though, there was a little bit of a negative with this because I did pre-order this on Amazon UK months in advance, and I never got it. Never got it, but I did get my refund, and I was able to use the funds from that to get my hands on this through Diabolique DVD, which is a website, independent DVD and Blu-ray reseller. Not just a reseller, seller, really. You can buy DVDs and Blu-rays from there. And I have to say, I'm really pleased with the service. Really fast shipping, in perfect shape when it came in. No complaints, really. So if you're looking for an alternative that isn't Amazon, to support the independent film distributors and sellers, Diabolique is a really good way to go. So yeah, Flight of the Navigator by Second Sight. If you are a fan of this film, you definitely need to get your hands on this and act fast because this is a limited edition. And knowing what Second Sight has been doing with their limited editions, if you don't get it now, you're probably not going to get it later unless you want to pay an arm and a leg. Because When a Stranger Calls is already out of print. I think The Changeling is out of print. So a lot of these releases are already out of print. So it's one of those things that's like, get it while you can. And yeah, so cool, so awesome. Flight of the Navigator. Then I got these two Olive Films releases because Deep Discount was having a sale where you buy one and you get another one free. So I believe it was buy one get one free. If it wasn't buy one get one free, it was buy one get one half off or something. Either way, it was a good deal. So I finally got Stone Cold on Blu-ray with the Boz. I honestly really like this film. I think it's a great action film. And then Roar, a film that I've been really curious about because of its reputation. No animals are harmed in the making of this film. 70 cast and crew members were. Roar, the most dangerous movie ever made. Red Letter Media's video about it definitely helped get me curious about it as well. These are two MVD Rewind collection releases that I picked up from a Facebook group, a seller, and actually a Facebook friend. And I picked them up because these were on my wish list. And the guy's a friend of mine, and he actually gave me a discount, which is really cool. And I'd rather buy these particular releases through other means than direct, considering how this company deals with criticism lately. Uh, but there were some releases that I definitely wanted to get my hands on, and one of them was The Return of Swamp Thing, because I actually really like this film. It's everything that Toxic Avenger isn't to me. Like, this is a campy blast. I've always liked this film. I grew up watching it on DVD, and been waiting to get it on Blu-ray. And this has some new features, as well as the 2K transfer, 2K remaster of the film. So yeah, The Return of Swamp Thing. Really glad to have that on Blu-ray. And I also got Abominable. Heard a lot of good things about this one. I have the DVD, but I haven't seen it yet. But I did want the Blu-ray because it has some new features and stuff like that. Apparently, it's got a new 2K high definition transfer from the original camera negative, but there are some things that are tweaked. So there's new CGI that's added. There's a few new things. Sounds like the color timing has been changed a little bit. I don't know about that. I think when I first see this, I'm going to watch the DVD. Or I'm going to compare and contrast the two before I watch either one. I want to see what is closest to the natural look of the film. I don't want to see no color timed weird version of the movie that, despite what the director decided to do, really isn't how the film's supposed to look. I don't want a Scream Factory the thing going on. But we shall see. But I'm glad to have it, though. Abominable. Another film that I'm glad to have for the collection is Rambo in 4K. This also has the the extended cut. The theatrical cut is on there too, though, because that's the only one I really wanted. I don't really want the extended cut. I've heard it's pretty shitty. Yeah, I've heard mixed things about the 4K on this, but I had the other three, so it was a no-brainer for me. Rambo. To be honest, from what I've been hearing about Last Blood, it seems like the franchise should have ended here. And that's really too bad. But, I could always, I guess, view it as if it did end here, and this is the last film in the franchise, and there was no other movie, but that would just be revisionist history, and that's not really fair. But still glad to have it. This movie still kicks ass. It's a great film. So I'm looking forward to checking it out again in 4K. These two DVDs are some that I got from Facebook group. I got them because it was really cheap. Actually, it was only $8 shipped. It was a good deal alone just for She Creature, because this is out of print. One of the Stan Winston creature features. I've always been curious about this one, not only because of the cast, but because it's a period piece, but then it has some other modern sensibilities about it, and then it also has like some really great looking practical effects. So yeah, I've been curious about She Creature for a long time. And then Wasp Woman, which I got because this honestly looks like it would be a fun laugh. It looked like it would be a movie that would be fun to laugh at. The effects, though, actually look pretty decent for a low budget. But yeah, Wasp Woman, which is a remake of an older film. So that's it for the titles that I picked up fairly recently. I do have some that are on the way. I did order a second package through Second Sight when they had that sale that they had going on. And the package got, I guess, returned back to them for some reason. So I gave them back corrected the address information, and they're sending me another package, and that's going to have Possession and what was the other one? I'm trying to remember what the other one even was. It was Possession and man, it's like it's escaping me right now. I got Possession, and there was another one that I got from Second Sight, but it's not coming to me at the moment. What exactly that one was? Was it Next of Kin? It might be Next of Kin. I'm not sure though. Because I've heard a lot of good and interesting things about Possession. So wanted to add that to my collection. And then I got a good deal on the original Toho Showa era Godzilla films DVD box set that was out of print for the longest time, and is still going for a decent amount of money now. Because at one point it was going for hundreds of dollars. Because I've never seen any of those Godzilla films, and somebody was selling it for like $23 shipped, and I jumped on it because I'm honestly curious about these Godzilla films. But I don't want to pay $160 for the Criterion Collection Blu-ray set because I haven't seen any of them except for the first movie. So, I thought that was a better, deal for me. If I like them and I'm into them, then maybe I'll save up and I'll get that set. But for right now, I'm totally fine with just the DVD set. And it was a really good deal. And then I also have another good deal that I got was on the UK box set of the Hammer films. It doesn't have all of the Hammer films, but it has 21 of them. And it has films like The Reptile, which is one that I've been really curious about seeing, as well as I think a documentary on it and a few other things here and there. And it's obviously a really cool looking set too. And it has the same sort of setup as the X-Files DVD set that I have, which I really like. Where the discs are in books. I like that particular design. I think that's really cool. I think it's a really cool aesthetic. And then I also got the Universal Monsters box set. I got it from eBay. It's only like 40 something bucks for all 31 films or something from the Universal Monsters horror collection from the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. I've always wanted to get my hands on that collection. I grew up watching them on VHS. My favorite Universal monster is a Creature from the Black Lagoon. I have a box set with the Creature films already, but I wanted to get that set because it has all of them. And I know there was a Blu-ray release, but these films are so old, and they're in black and white. I think some of them might be in color, but I doubt that it's really going to make that much of a difference from DVD, from remastered newer versions of the film on DVD versus the Blu-ray versions. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. At least, I think they're going to they're still going to look pretty good up converted. And I remember watching them on VHS, and I still have some of the Universal Monsters VHS tapes for the collection. I like them. I like those tapes. I'd like to get more of them actually. I like the aesthetic. I like the design, just like the colorized picture of the monster on the front. I also remember seeing those a lot. And those are the versions of the Universal Monsters that I remember that I grew up with. I used to check them out from the library quite a bit. The Wolfman, the Invisible Man, the Mummy, Dracula, all of it. And there's other Universal Monsters films that I haven't actually seen. And there's going to be a lot of them that are going to be in that set. So I'm really, really excited and pretty giddy to get that. Because I don't know if I'll review them or not this month, but I probably will be watching them. Maybe even with my parents, because I think that's something that they'll probably get a kick out of. But, yeah, that's it for upcoming DVD releases and stuff. Now I'm going to get to some thoughts on some trailers. I'm going to try to make it brief and quick. So, Adam Sandler's doing a serious film again, and it's from A24, who have been hit and miss for me. I know they've been mostly hit for a lot of people, but for me, hit and miss. It's called Uncut Gems, and I gotta be honest, it looks pretty good. It looks really interesting. Sandler looks like he's delivering a performance that's gonna be one of his best. It's really nice to see him giving a shit again. Maybe this is his new This is the new direction he should take his career in. A John Turturro kind of direction where he's doing more serious roles. And I think he actually can pull that off. He's shown it before in stuff like Punch Drunk Love and other films. So it's not like it's something that Sandler's not capable of. So that's a film I'm really interested in seeing. The plot seems a little generic, but the style, the visual look of the film, and Sandler in a serious role is enough to get me intrigued and wanting to see it. Not in the theater, but when it comes out on home video, I'll definitely give it a watch. There's a horror film that's going to be coming out later this month that I may or may not review, because another thing that I'm planning on doing in between horror anthology stuff is reviewing newer horror films. Actually, just straight up 2019 horror films that I think look interesting to me, that have piqued my interest, so to speak. And one of them is going to be the Child's Play remake. You're going to have Midsummer, which I have a feeling it's going to be a rant, and a lot of people are going to hate me for it, but whatever, fuck it. I'd rather be honest than lie to you. And other stuff like Satanic Panic, Horror Anthology, and Nightmare Cinema, and a few others like Itsy Bitsy. So, yeah. And this one, which I will definitely add to that list, because this looks really creepy. This looks really unsettling and disturbing, and it looks really it looks like a film that is definitely up my alley. And it's called Wounds. It's from the same director who did Under the Shadow, which is actually on a list of requests that I compiled together, which I'll also get to that eventually too. I want to get back to that sometime as well. But yeah, Wounds, directed by that same director, and I'm not going to give anything away. Just go check out the trailer. It's got some really creepy visuals. It looks like a really intriguing film to me, and it's got a male lead, which is a nice change of pace in a horror film where you have a male lead. So yeah, I'm definitely curious about that. There's another trailer for The Irishman. I didn't think that trailer was nearly as good as the teaser. In fact, it kind of made the movie really not look that good. I don't know how much of that is editing or not. Netflix seems to be kind of shitty when it comes to editing their trailers. I think they should hire somebody else. But for right now, I'm kind of on the fence now about it. And I've also heard that it's like 3.5 hours, which I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, 3.5 hours. I know it's got Pacino and it's got Pesci and it's got De Niro, but like, for some reason I turned into Max Headroom there. De Niro. But I know it's got those three legends and it's directed by Scorsese, but 3.5 hours, Jesus. We'll see. There's a new trailer for The Kingsman. I love the teaser trailer for The Kingsman. This trailer was also really cool. I am totally on board. I am sold. I am there. I am there for The Kingsman. Really curious about that. Love the look of the film that I'm seeing in the trailers. Looks like it has some great action, and I love that it takes place in World War One. I said World War II because that's when most of these war films that take place in World War II. So that just immediately came to mind. But no, I love that it takes place in World War One because that's unique. And then there's another film that's coming out called 1917 that I might check out too because it's also taking place in World War One. So it's really nice to see more World War One movies coming out next year because I think it's a war that hasn't been shown on film nearly enough. Michael Bay is doing a new action film with Ryan Reynolds. It's called Six Underground. It's kind of Michael Bay's Extreme Prejudice. If you know what I'm talking about, Extreme Prejudice is a film that Walter Hill did that is lesser known and really shouldn't be. It's a great film. And The plot dealt with a bunch of soldiers who went missing in action, who were considered killed in action, but in reality they're alive and well and they're working underground for government agencies, or they're mercenaries. So this is a less serious, uh, more over the top take on Extreme Prejudice. And you know what? It looks like fun. Michael Bay, whether you love or hate him, he is undeniably really good at what he does when it comes to doing action. He's one of the best directors when it comes to directing action films, and it really doesn't look like he missed a beat here. That I mean, people say slow-mo is overdone, but Michael Bay knows how to do it right. See, there's the difference between people who use too much slow-mo and don't really know how to do it properly versus someone like Michael Bay, who's a veteran who knows his stuff. He knows how to do that, and he knows how to use slow-mo to get the most out of certain over-the-top sequences. And this trailer is no different when it comes to sequences like the magnet boat. I love that sequence. Just sold me on the film. I was just like, oh shit, that's fucking cool. And I love Ryan Reynolds, so yeah, I'll definitely give that a watch. Looks like a fun movie. Birds of Prey. I'm not gonna say the full title. The Emancipation of Fabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn. Is that what this like? This film was trying to break records for the longest title in film history or something. I don't get it. I'm not gonna call it that. But what I am gonna say is I like the trailer. I really like this trailer. But I have to temper my expectations for this film because I also really like the trailer for Suicide Squad. I like the song choice. I like the editing. I like the look of the film. And the movie sucked. And it was a mess. So I'm going to temper my expectations. But I did like the trailer. I know a lot of people are shitting on it. I personally don't get it. It looked better and more interesting to me than Joker. I know everyone's like all crazy about Joker. But I never really thought the trailer was that impressive to me. This has a style and a flair that is unique and is just dazzling. It really is a dazzling looking film. Like, it looks absolutely dazzling and gorgeous. And I love it when films look like that. And when they incorporate color in a vibrant, just wonderful way. One of my favorite comic book films is Watchmen for that very reason, just for the eye candy. And this looks like another film that's going to have like some really great visuals. But Suicide Squad had some nice stuff like that too, but really lacked in the story department. So I'm hoping Birds of Prey is better in that regard. Margot Robbie, I know a lot of people are shitting on her. I think she does fine. I think I liked her in Suicide Squad. The fact that the film is focusing mostly on her isn't a problem to me because the other Birds of Prey, it doesn't seem like they're really that interesting or really worth being a headliner. But then again, I'm not really familiar with the Birds of Prey comics, so I can see why some Birds of Prey fans are pissed off and they're all like, it's Harley Quinn, it's a Harley Quinn solo movie featuring Birds of Prey, and they're pissed off about how the characters are being portrayed and they're upset at the costumes and everything. And when it comes to being upset about the costumes, like, where were you when Nolan fucked around with the Scarecrow and just made him a guy in a business suit with a Scarecrow mask? Like, where were you then? Where were you when, you had Ra's al Ghul, who was just pretty boring looking, or no, it was actually just Liam Neeson's character. Where were you when that happened? I mean, Ledger's Joker was different than any other interpretation of the character that anyone had ever seen until that point. So, and I know people were actually complaining about it before the film came out, but it's just one of those things that's like, really? You're going to complain about costuming? Like, I don't know. It just seems like something that isn't that big of a deal, but All right, to each their own. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I get it. I get it why you might be upset. It'd be like they did a Deadpool movie and Deadpool was just walking around in a red t-shirt and had, katanas on his back and wasn't wearing a suit. Oh wait, that already happened. That movie was X-Men Origins Wolverine. And yeah, it was pretty fucking bad. And I do remember calling bullshit on it. So I get it. I totally get it. But I would say probably wait to see the film. Don't judge how they're going to portray the characters, uh, or portray the birds of prey based on one trailer. I don't really think that's not really a good idea. It's not wise. But if you want to do that, be my guest. Fire away. But yeah, I love this trailer. I can't lie and say I've watched it like a few different times, and I'm still really impressed with this trailer. I think it looks like a really crazy film in terms of the visuals alone, and I like Margot Robbie, and it just I don't know if I'll see it in the theater, but to me it looked better than Wonder Woman, Justice League, Batman vs Superman, and Man of Steel combined. To me personally, and Joker. I still haven't seen Joker. I'll give it a shot someday, but I'm just not as impressed with Joker as a lot of people are. So yeah, that's my thoughts on some recent trailers. Now, give my thoughts on some of the Scream Factory releases that are coming up. So you have a collector's edition of Big Trouble in Little China. It's supposed to be an exclusive, the definitive release of the film. Arrow Video already did a great, amazing release of the film previously. We'll see. I mean, I have the Arrow Video Steelbook of the film. It's gorgeous. It's one of my all-time favorite films. It's my second favorite John Carpenter film, and it's a movie that I really love and I really enjoy. I'm just gonna wait to see what the features are. If they include a 4K disc, I think that's a straight up absolute yes. I'm doing it because I have the Studio Canal 4K releases of some of the other Carpenter films, and that would be a really nice addition to that particular collection. We'll see what the features are, because there's already a good amount of features for the film. There was a good amount of features that were on the Arrow Video release and stuff like that. Pretty sure there'll probably be a new 4K transfer or remaster of the film. So I'm waiting to see what the specs are, but I am heavily leaning on yes. I'm heavily leaning on indeed I am going to buy that Blu-ray. But for right now, I'm just kind of waiting a little bit to see what the extra goodies are going to be. Body parts, super psyched about this. I remember discussing the possibility of this because I had read through Facebook that Eric Red was talking to a fan and was talking about it's going to come out, and here's the confirmation of it. Really glad that it's getting a Blu-ray. We'll see what the features are going to be. Probably won't be much, but hopefully it's going to have the deleted scenes that Eric Red has his hands on. Interviews with Eric Red. I'd love to see an interview with Jeff Fahey. Maybe we'll get that. Commentary with Eric Red. So I think it'll have a decent amount of features, but it's not going to be enough to be a collector's edition. But we'll see. Maybe. But they didn't announce it as such, so it's probably not going to be one. Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. I actually have the UK Blu-ray of that, so I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do too much extra with that. The Fan, the 1981 film. I don't really love the film. I picked it up on DVD recently because it was pretty cheap. But the Blu-ray has a new interview with Michael Biehn, and I love the guy, and I am curious to hear his thoughts about it. So that's something that'll be on the wish list, and I'd like to get one of these days just to see the features. I'm not really a super big fan of the film, but I'm curious about the features, and it has a decent amount of features apparently, including a new interview with Michael Biehn or Bean or however. I keep fucking it up. I really should look into like how you say his name. Then we have the Fly collection. I'm not super big on the older Fly films. I really wish that I could just buy the Fly 1986 in a collector's edition by itself and the Fly 2 in a collector's edition. I really wish I could just do that. Why didn't Scream Factory just split it up? The Fly collection with the original Fly trilogy, with the Fly, Return of the Fly, and Curse of the Fly, and then Fly and Fly 2 separately. I mean, they still would sell. It just seems like, I don't know, like, I'm not really a big fan of the other Fly films. And I already have the Fly 1986 on Blu-ray, the original 20th Century Fox release. I have I think I'm trying to remember, was it Madman? Or it was an Australian release of the Fly 2. I have that. But I mean, if there are new remasters of Fly, the Fly in the 1986 film and the Fly 2, I would probably want to get my hands on the set just for that alone, because I really, really love both of those films. In terms of features, I highly doubt we can get anything new or anything that's going to be worth adding, but we'll see. I mean, both of those films have a ton of features already and have great special features. So they're probably going to port them over, but like, what are you really going to get to make, the set really buzz? I mean, we'll see. Just $60 for a set that has all these films that there's only two that I like. The first Fly, I guess I can watch, it's all right. But I mean, this is only two that I really like. It's it's just kind of meh for me. It's not like, oh my god, best Christmas gift ever. Like, but if I got it, I'm not gonna complain, because I do want to see what the Fly and the Fly 2 would look like with new remastered prints, which probably is going to be the case. Let's Scare Jessica to Death is going to get a Blu-ray release. That's good news. Heard a lot of good things about that one. There's been a collector's edition of My Bloody Valentine. Now this is awesome. Like, that is pretty fucking sweet. I have the out of print Lionsgate release, but this film deserves better in terms of special features. So I definitely feel Scream Factory is going to roll out the red carpet for that. Going to have enough special features that, going to make you definitely say, eat your heart out, But, yeah, looking forward to that. Pet Sematary 2 Collector's Edition. Depends on what the features are. Prophecy, that's really cool that it's getting released. That's really a nice thing. It's a weird, quirky film. Be nice to see it remastered a little bit, because the DVD looks okay, but it definitely could look better. Road Games and Silver Bullet. Those are the last two I want to mention on the Scream Factory. Road Games has a collector's edition from Umbrella Entertainment already that already has a lot of features and a pretty good transfer, so we'll see. I don't have either one, but thanks to Amazon, who, kind of gives things away. Amazon doesn't really, if you have something on your wish list and somebody buys it for you and you click on it, Amazon is like, ooh, somebody already bought this for you. Looks like somebody might have already bought this. Basically Amazon spoils it. So whoever out there, whoever decides to pre-order me a copy of Road Games, the collector's edition from Scream Factory, it's not a surprise anymore. Blame Amazon. But whoever you are, thank you. Really, thank you a lot, because I've been curious about that one, and I definitely am going to enjoy that gift. Silver Bullets, another one that I like the film. I don't love it, but I would be curious about the special edition. I know Umbrella also did release of that, which I also don't have. So, yeah. So that's the Scream Factory releases, at least the ones that I wanted to mention. The other ones I really don't care about. Arrow Video, they're doing RoboCop. I heard about it. I knew about it. So they're doing RoboCop. There's no RoboDoc stuff because they're not done with it. And I'm going to say this about RoboDoc. I'm a part of a RoboCop fan page on Facebook, and I did a long rant on RoboDoc because I was really starting to get perturbed and a little bit annoyed by how long things were taking, and by some of the actions by some of the people involved with the production, um, considering the previous track record with how they deal with criticism online. And then you had there was a Facebook post by the director talking about RoboDoc 2, and I was just like, is this what's going on? They're just gonna they took their sweet ass time with RoboDoc, and then they're gonna do another Kickstarter and ask for money for RoboDoc 2 and 3 or 4 or whatever. And so I was understandably a little bit irritated by that. I expressed my frustration as kindly as I could, and I actually got a response from the director that was respectful, that really opened my eyes on everything, really cleared the air, and honestly really took away a lot of the ire that I had towards the project. Now I'm just wishing Christopher the best, and you can clearly see that this is a project of his that is a labor of love for him, and however long it takes, it's however long it takes. He confirmed that there is going to be a DVD and Blu-ray release available for other fans of RoboCop that weren't able to do the Kickstarter or the Indiegogo campaigns. And he confirmed that when it does come out, it's going to have all the parts. It's not just going to be RoboDoc, and you're going to have to buy RoboDoc 2 or 3 separately. No, they're all going to be contained in one set. So he even sent me a little preview of an exclusive clip, so to show appreciation, and as a sign of respect. So huge big props to Christopher Griffiths and everyone involved in RoboDoc. You really got me to change my tune, and that's not easy to do. So yeah, there's no RoboDoc stuff that's on this Blu-ray, but there is some new features here. There's a 4K restoration of the film, but it's the same one that was on the Blu-ray, the previous Blu-ray. But it's an Arrow Video release of RoboCop with this really cool slipcover, and it's got a poster and everything, like, and lobby cards. Like, this is just like, I know it's kind of overkill, but overkill is fine with me because I love this movie. I love RoboCop. RoboCop is part of my identity on YouTube. So yeah, I this was just a day one pre-order, and it was, regardless of whether or not there's not that much new features. There's a few new things here and there, and I'll probably go more in depth on them when I get it. But yeah, not complaining at all. I think they did the best that they could. Then we have American Werewolf in London, which I also pre-ordered because I'm also an enormous fan of that film. I mean, Arrow Video release of American Werewolf in London, that's a match made in heaven, man. And it also has really cool cover art, has a poster and all these other bonuses, has some new features, new video essay, new featurette on some of the effects, and all the other previous features from the other previous releases. This is a film that already had a great documentary available for it, but there's a few new stuff, but really, it's for the presentation of the box set, the look of it, and for the 4K remaster of the film. So yeah, those are the Arrow Video releases that I thought were of note and worth mentioning. I know they're doing one for Nightbreed, but I'm an Exorcist 3, which I'm fine with the Scream Factory release of Nightbreed I have. And Exorcist 3, I'm fine with the Scream Factory release of that. I don't think that Arrow, as much as I love them, I don't really think they're going to add that much extra for an Exorcist 3 release in terms of special features to make it worth it. But there is word that's come out that Arrow has gotten a hold of Morgan Creek titles, which makes sense because they're doing Exorcist 3. And because of that, looks like they're going to be doing stuff like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. So keep your eyes peeled for potential Arrow video releases of both of those films. I can't wait for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because I really enjoy that film. I picked up the Blu-ray release recently, and it's got some color timing issues. It really looks weird. I had to mess around with my color settings on my TV because when I put the Blu-ray in, things looked a little bit off. And it's the extended cut. I guess there's an Australian release that has the theatrical cut on it, but if Arrow Video's doing a release, they're probably going to deck it out. It's going to be like Waterworld. It's going to be a limited collector's. It's going to be a collector's edition, hardback case. It's going to have both cuts of the film, and I hope it has some new features too. Because, to me personally, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is a gem. So is Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. So it'd be cool if they have the TV version or the uncut version of the film. And last but not least, the last thing I'm going to talk about in this really long vlog. Hey, one of the last vlogs I did was pretty long too, so it seemed to go over kind of well. A lot of people liked it. So here's another really long vlog. Kino Lorber is doing a special edition of My Boyfriend's Back. Love this film. I think it's an absolute gem. I think it's incredibly underrated. And I put off buying the Mill Creek Blu-ray because I was like, there's really not much new or anything in terms of features, and and I'm glad I did because this is a collector's edition from Kino Lorber. It has a commentary track with the director Bob Balaban, with actors Mary Beth Hurt and Austin Pendleton. It has an interview with Andrew Lowery, which I'm really looking forward to. An interview with the director Bob Balaban. An interview with the composer Harry Manfredini. It's got an interview with the actor Austin Pendleton. Couldn't get Tracy Lynn, which is too bad. I would have liked to hear her thoughts, but that's more than I could have ever imagined that film getting. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, which comes out this month actually. Probably gonna pick that up with my next paycheck. But anyway, thank you for watching this really long vlog and updates and an unboxing video and trailer thoughts, everything all rolled up into one. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you later. See ya.